Welcome back, yay! Today our episode is going to be all about building habits and routines to kickstart it back in the way we started with habits. But before we do that, I think it's really important that we're going to have a catch up, and it may be about 5 to 10 minutes long. So if that's a bit much for you, you can just skip through to the next section. No worries there. But I'm really excited. Today you will notice a big difference when you are listening, probably the intro and the display of the podcast. So we've had a name change. I have decided to change from That Happy Habit, the podcast, to becoming Plan to Empower, the podcast with Meg. So Plan to Empower has come to life because of a few things. I had to really think about what would encompass the business and what would encompass what I'm trying to achieve from this podcast. I've loved podcasting for the last 8 months, and I'm really ready to take this to the next level. So I'm so excited to be doing this. Plan to Empower was born because I want to empower you. I want to help you reach your next level. I want to help you succeed. And for me and how I've done it myself, I've done that through planning, habits, routines, and lifestyle. So Plan to Empower was born because I want to help you plan to empower. Yay, I can't believe that I've done it and I'm changing. Change is so exciting and also so scary because you don't know if it's going to work or if it's going to take. So if you have any feedback on the name, I would love to hear it because it's been a bit of a work in progress, but I'm really excited about it. I also think the month break was much needed. I definitely was approaching burnout, and I feel tenfold better now because I took a rest, and I'm so excited to be back. There are going to be weekly episodes now rather than fortnightly, so you will see me and hear me in your ears a bit more regularly, which I'm really looking forward to doing, because when I look at the long-term goal of this business, I see podcasting in it. I would love to be at the point where I'm podcasting 2 times a week and releasing episodes frequently. So this is a great stepping stone for me in order to help me get there. Upcoming on That Happy Habit, we have a new PDF that's coming out today. Yeah, it comes out today. The new PDF comes out today, the day that this episode's launched. So if you're listening to this episode live, then you will be able to head over to That Happy Habit, the Instagram, and download our Become a Morning Person PDF. That PDF is all about habits and routines. So what habits to install, what routines you might want to have to be a part of building that morning person that you want to become. Also, along with the new name, I've actually made a separate Instagram for Plan to Empower. That is so that I can scale this business itself on its own and separately from That Happy Habit. So my goal is to then run a planning lifestyle business with That Happy Habit, but run a podcast as a business, but they all come under the same umbrella. So I've been learning a lot about business and a lot about how I can manage, and I think that this is the best step for me moving forward, and I'm so excited because it means that I can now give separate focus. I remember I was doing a course called Do It For Your Future Self, and it asked me to put into buckets what I wanted to work on and what do I value in my life. And I had to, when I was sitting there, I separated it out because I went, I've got 8 buckets, and so you do all the ones that you would expect, but I had That Happy Habit as one, and then I had the podcast as a separate one because I went, well, actually they are quite different in terms of what I do and the workload and the output. So I really had to think about how I was gonna do that. And then I'm now doing a course called Find Your Voice, which is all about understanding your podcast and how to scale it and how to monetize and how to take it to the next level. And as I was doing that, and as I was writing out my whys of this podcast and why I want to create this for you guys, I knew that I had to separate out the business and the podcast, because this podcast is something that I want to take and I want to do forever. So I'm just so excited that this is happening and that I'm taking you along for the ride. I've got a few really big projects in the works, and I cannot wait to share them with you. Everything's in motion at the moment, and to the day that this releases is going to be quite a massive step for me in my small business. So I'm beyond excited to be taking this to the next step. Yay, let's get into the episode. Today we're going to be talking all about habits and routines. Habits is how my whole business came to life. So I can't believe I haven't done a podcast episode on this yet. That Happy Habit was born because I went through a 50-day challenge where I instilled sustainable habits into my routines. And honestly, it goes without saying that they have changed my life. I would not be sitting here talking to you if I had not put those habits into my morning, into my routines. So I'm excited to be sharing these concepts with you and sharing what I learned on my journey of self-discovery. So first of all, you may be asking, what is a habit? So a habit is best understood as an automatic learnt response. Basically, it means it's something that you do without thinking. Let's say, for example, every morning you pick your keys up off the bench, or every evening you put your keys after work in the exact same spot. That is a habit. You don't have to think about doing that. You would come home or you'd throw your handbag on the couch. That's a habit. But if you wanted to change it and you wanted to start hanging it, I'm speaking about myself right now, and you wanted to start hanging it on a hook, you would have to actively think about going to hang it on the hook. It would be the automatic response to just put it down on the couch and not worry about it. So a habit is something that you do without thinking. Now, you may be thinking, well, I don't actually know what I do without thinking. So what I would encourage you to do is to take a little moment where you actually stop and you analyze what you do without thinking. So when I started this journey, I went, well, what am I doing without thinking? And for me, it was actually a journey on my journey with alcohol where I went, I'm actually drinking without thinking. It'd become such a habit that on the weekend I would drink, and it wasn't thought of. I didn't bat an eyelid about it. I just did it. So it was learning, and then I was like, well, what else am I doing without thinking? And I was like, well, I'm sitting and scrolling on my phone for an hour in the morning without thinking. So what habits was I doing? Because there can be negative habits as well. So and I still bite my nails, things like that. So I had to stop and think, what is not working? And I was looking it all up, and I did some research about how I could form new sustainable habits that would actually benefit me. So one thing that really stuck was that a habit actually takes 66 days to form. That is 66 days of doing something consistently. So actively going out of your way to do this habit. Now, it can be really powerful in order to change one habit. And what I find is sometimes people leap straight into wanting to have the new routine. So let's say, for example, you currently lie in bed for an hour on your phone and you want to be a morning person, but you just really struggle to get out of bed. And that's not something that feels possible for you. You're not crawling out of bed till 8 o'clock and you're leaving for work at 8:15. So rather than trying to jump from doing that to being a 5:30 a.m. riser who does yoga and drinks their morning greens and does all of those steps that look so impossible right now, I encourage you to pick one habit and stick to it for a month. And then once you've done that month of that new habit, you stack a second habit. So say, for example, that habit could be, right, I'm not going to hop on my phone first thing in the morning. If I want to be in bed, I'm sleeping. That habit's done. You may still lie in bed for that hour, but you're not lying in bed on your phone. The next thing you could do is you could stack it on and go, well, I'm going to read 10 pages first thing in the morning of my book. So then you've stacked that habit and you're slowly building a routine rather than leaping straight to the end. So a routine is made up of lots of little micro habits, and the routine itself should feel like it's flexible and like it's not something that you're stuck in. And you shouldn't have to wake up and go, oh, I have to do this today. It shouldn't feel like that. And if it feels like that, then you're not doing the right routine. I'll give you an example. So I used to think that I had to be a morning exerciser, and I do love exercising in the morning, do not get me wrong. But I used to force myself to go to the gym before work. And those who know me know that I leave for work about 6:45 in the morning, sometimes a little later, depends how my morning's gone. But if I'm leaving at 6:45, I would have to have gone to the gym and then I have to shower there, and something that I really like is showering at home. So I used to force myself to do that, and then I would already be stressed before my day had started. So by removing that and making the habit, actually, I have lots of other little things that I can achieve in the morning that isn't exercise. So creating a success profile for myself first thing in the morning that didn't include exercise. And now I exercise in the afternoons, causing me less stress. So your routine needs to be, it needs to be something that's relevant to you and something that actually makes sense for something that you want to do, rather than following that routine that your influencer posted, or stealing someone else's ideas and going, well, they get up and have their greens at 6:30 in the morning and that kind of stuff. But yes, there are definitely things you can take from other people's routines, but what you do it for 2 months and it doesn't feel good, and then you go, sweet, that one doesn't work for me, I'm going to try sub it out for something else. It's all about creating the routine and the habits that actually are going to stick for you. Like, what was this thing I heard? And it was like, if you wanted to get a dog, you should try get in the habit of going for a walk every morning for, I think it's like in half an hour. You have to go for a walk every morning for half an hour to prove to yourself that you can have a dog, because, well, it depends obviously what dog you get, but like, for me personally, I want a black Labrador. And when I went through that thought process, I was like, I actually don't have time at the moment to go for a walk every morning before work for half an hour. So I don't have time for a dog. And like having to process that and figure out what would actually logically fit into my routine or into my habits. So I can't stress enough how important it is to make it personal to you, and to make sure that whatever habits you are putting in, they actually make sense for you. And I encourage you not to stack habits too soon. So for example, if you had been getting up and getting out of bed straight away for a week, and you go, yes, I'm crushing this, I'm doing it. And then after those 10 days, you then go, right, I'm going to go work out for half an hour once I'm straight out of bed. And you then start dreading getting out of bed because you have to go exercise. So rather than going, well, I'm going to do this every day, it could just be, I'm going to do this 3 days a week. And 3 days of those early mornings are getting up to exercise. But then 4 days of those early mornings are going to be a bit slower and a bit more gentle and a bit easier to step into, rather than, leaping for the end goal. You need to focus on where you're currently at rather than focusing on where you want to be. Making a routine will help you remove stress from all the little decisions that you have to make during the day. I find as a teacher, I'm making a lot of decisions every single day. And sometimes it can become extremely overwhelming. So for me personally, making routines at home has helped me feel less stressed about my day-to-day life and feel less stressed about the little things in my day, so that I can make those decisions. And I'm making a lot of decisions at the moment between my business, between teaching, and I have to focus on what's best for me and us as a family. So me, Josh and Yoda. And for me, that means I have really stable routines that are slow and easy, but flexible. So I don't have to sit and do all my Instagram stuff. So I do all my business work first thing in the morning when my brain is the freshest. And I don't have to do that though. So some mornings I'll wake up and go, I actually just want to sit and read my book. So I'll sit and read my book for half an hour or 40 minutes rather than doing work. And sometimes I get sick of being on my phone first thing in the morning. So that leads me into, I'm going to talk you through my routines, because I think hearing other people's can give you inspiration, but it's important not to hear mine and think, this is what I should be doing. I'm not saying that this is what you should be doing. I'm saying through trial and error, this is what has worked for me. So for me at the moment, I currently wake up at 5:20. I get up and I feed Yoda. Once I feed Yoda and we have a little snuggle, then I will go into the shower and I shower and get dressed and all that stuff. And then by that time, it is about 5:45, and I'll drink my greens. So I'll have my greens, and then I will tend to, while I'm drinking my greens, I'll either empty the dishwasher or I'll put the washing away, whatever has been on overnight, that kind of stuff. So I'll do that for about 10 minutes, and then I make Josh's morning coffee and I'll make my breakfast, and then we sit and we eat and drink a coffee together. So I won't have my coffee yet, but he has his. And we sit and do that together as a family at 6 in the morning. Oh, sorry. We sit and do that together at 6 in the morning. And then once he leaves for work really early, so he'll leave for work, and then I will sit and do business work for about 30 minutes. Sometimes it's a little more depending on what time I have to leave for work. And then after that, I will pack my bag for work, pack my gym bag if I'm going to go to the gym. I know it's something I should do in my evening routine, but I haven't quite got there yet. It doesn't feel good to me, so I'm currently enjoying packing it in the morning, and it's not feeling like a stress, so I keep doing it. But yeah, and then I will leave for work. It sounds like a lot on paper and when you hear it, but for me it's so natural now. Like, I do this every day and it flows on naturally. Then my evening routine is definitely quite a lot smaller. So I will, once we've finished eating dinner, I'll make myself a nighttime hot chocolate. It really depends when we get into bed. It depends if I feel like reading. Sometimes I'll take my hot chocolate into bed, so I'll brush my teeth before my hot chocolate and I'll take it into bed. The one I drink's from Real Rad Food, and it's not super sweet. It's definitely more of like a sleep support drink rather than a hot chocolate, but it's delicious and I love it. So I'll do that. I'll take it into bed. I'll read a book. I'm currently reading a book about the multi-moon cycles and loving it. So interesting. But I read that for about 10 pages, and then Josh and I will listen to an audiobook together as we fall asleep. And it's so simple. Oh, I do my skincare in there too. And like when I brush my teeth, I wash my face. And I love that. But sometimes I'll shower because I've gone to the gym. Honestly, it depends on the day. And I think that's the beauty of my routines, is I know that every day I'm going to do my skincare. I know every day I'm going to brush my teeth. I know every day I'm going to have a hot chocolate. Like, I know a big heron just flew past. He's been hanging around our house heaps lately. Sorry, got distracted. But yeah, so I'll make my routine something that's flexible and moldable to how my day's actually going. And now something that I do that helps me with my accountability, and when I was learning to form habits, was habit tracking. So I would have something that I could tick every single day if I had done that habit. So for me now, I use my own personal planning pad. So the Happy Habit planning pad that's available for purchase over on that Happy Habit Shopify. I'll link it in the show notes. But it's got a weekly habit tracker on it. And so every week I'll write up the habits. And every week they're actually a little bit different for me, because it'll depend on what I'm struggling with or what I think I'm going to need a little reminding to do. So, and there's some I just like to tick. I love ticking things off. So it's definitely helpful. But I think there's a lot of ways you can go about this. But if you can create a routine full of habits that you really enjoy doing, it won't feel like a chore, and it won't feel like something that's out of your reach. So I encourage you to stop, reflect, and look upon what you currently do and realize, are you doing it because you think you should do it, or are you doing it because you actually enjoy it? And if you do enjoy it, great, try stack a new habit on. Or if you don't enjoy it, maybe you could try substitute in some habits that you actually think you might enjoy. But remember, 66 days to form a habit. So take your time, feel it out, and make sure it feels right to you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me over on Plan to Empower, the Instagram. Awesome. Thank you so much. Bye.